Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jimmy Fowler. I'm the warning coordination meteorologist here at the National Weather Service in Houston, Galveston. And this afternoon, I'll be giving you an update on Tropical Storm Bertha. Some changes. We have had tropical storm watches put in effect for Chambers, coastal Galveston, and coastal Brazoria counties. However, significant impacts are not expected for southeast Texas. We are still monitoring the potential for dangerous heat today and possibly again tomorrow. So changes since yesterday. We have those tropical storm watches in effect for Chambers, coastal Galveston, and coastal Brazoria counties, and that's in effect through 6 a.m. Friday. We are also monitoring the potential for some isolated strong to severe thunderstorms later this afternoon and evening. Even with the tropical storm watches in effect, really no significant impacts to southeast Texas is expected at this time. The environment remains very unfavorable for any strengthening or organization. We're really not anticipating any impacts from any coastal flooding or heavy rainfall. We are looking at the potential for increased rip currents along area beaches through Friday. We may see some isolated gusts to weak tropical storm force winds along the immediate coast and over the coastal waters. And again, we're looking at the potential for dangerous heat for today and continuing through at least tomorrow. Here is the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center. Tropical Storm Bertha is located just off the coast of Mississippi, heading westward into southern Louisiana. Still has maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour, and is moving west-northwest at around 6 miles per hour. It's expected to kind of continue on this westward motion through the next day or so, make landfall kind of along various points of the Gulf Coast, and then expected to make the final landfall somewhere along the upper Texas coast Thursday afternoon as a weak tropical storm or tropical depression. Again, unfavorable environment for strengthening, and is really going to limit the system's organization. The tropical storm watch is in effect through 6 a.m. Friday for Chambers, coastal Galveston, and coastal Brazoria, with the main impact being the potential for some gusts to weak tropical storm force winds along the immediate coast. Here is a map of where we have the tropical storm watch in effect. So again, we have the coastal portions of Brazoria, Galveston, and Chambers County, as well as Galveston Bay and the waters off of Galveston Bay. Further to our south, we do also have a small craft advisory in effect for the waters off of Matagorda Bay. Here is a current satellite view of Tropical Storm Bertha. On this map here, where you see those brighter oranges and reds is where we have the more intense thunderstorms. The swirl that we're seeing up here off of Mississippi into Louisiana, that is where the center of Bertha is. And as you can see, all that northerly wind shear that we've been talking about the past couple of days has shoved pretty much all of the thunderstorms associated with Tropical Storm Bertha well to the south and west of the system, with really no thunderstorms developing on either the northern, western, or eastern portion of the storm. So as this storm continues on its westward path and getting more interaction with the land, it's only expected to get continued more disorganized and weaker. This is the earliest reasonable time of arrival from the National Hurricane Center for tropical storm force winds. We're looking at the potential for some of the tropical storm force winds along the coast arriving sometime between tomorrow morning and late tomorrow afternoon. The probability of storm force winds are still pretty low, with around a 10% chance near the coast. This map here shows the probability of wind gusts across the coastal areas greater than 45 miles per hour. So we're seeing about a potential for tropical storm force winds of around 15% along the immediate coast. And then, as you can see, as we get further inland, those chances greatly diminish to basically near zero as you get really any further inland from the coast. Talking about today, we are looking at potential for some of the outer rain bands to begin to approach southeast Texas. And with the heat that we're seeing today, there's going to be kind of a lot of energy in the atmosphere. And that's going to allow for the potential for some isolated strong to severe thunderstorms along these kind of band of storms moving through later this afternoon and evening. SPC has put out a marginal risk, a level 1 of 5, for the potential for isolated severe thunderstorms. We're really looking at only the potential for some damaging wind gusts coming from kind of downburst winds. We may see a brief heavy downpour and then frequent lightning. This is a simulated radar for this evening. This is just one model solution, so expect things to not look exactly like this, but this kind of gives us a rough idea. So as we go through the evening hours, we may see that band of a broken band of showers and thunderstorms moving from the northeast down to the southwest across the region. We may see a isolated strong downburst wind for any of these isolated thunderstorms. And then as we get kind of towards 11 p.m. to midnight, that's when the thunderstorm threats kind of really diminish. This is the probability of rainfall for either greater than a half inch or inch across the region. And again, we're looking at really just the potential for some the bulk of the rainfall occurring off the coast. We do have about a 50% chance of down along Galveston Island of having at least a half of inch of rain, but then that goes down to about 20 to 25% as we get for any rainfall over 1 inch. So really, we're not anticipating any significant flooding concerns from rainfall from Tropical Storm Bertha. Taking a look at the coastal hazards, again, we're not really looking at the potential for any coastal flooding to be a concern. For a tropical storm or any tropical system to really bring a coastal flooding impact, it needs to spend a decent amount of time over the waters and be relatively strong. At this point, I mean, it's going to have very little time to really gather any of the ocean waters to push onshore. So we are not anticipating any coastal flooding to be really of a concern. These graphs here shows the tide forecast for the next several days for the Galveston Bay entrance up top and also High Island on the bottom. We're looking at high tides at around 2 to 2.5 feet above mean low water, which is mean low tide. We typically only start to see some impacts when it gets to around 3.5 to 4 feet above this level. We are going to be messaging the increased risk for strong rip currents along area beaches through Friday. So that is going to be a concern. I'm going to transition now talking more about the heat. We do have the extreme heat warning in effect across all of Southeast Texas today, as we see temperatures rise to basically near triple digits or low 100s across much of the region, with heat indices rising to around 112 to 115 for most of the region. Tomorrow, the dangerous heat continues with heat indices rising to around 108 to 110, but depending on how much cloud cover we get from Bertha, that may help limit the potential for some daytime heating. So this is the map for the extreme heat warning for today. Again, it is in effect for all of Southeast Texas. We're seeing those heat indices up to around 115, 116 as we get into the afternoon hours. So key takeaways, tropical storm watches are in effect for Chambers, coastal Galveston, and coastal Brazoria, meaning that tropical storm conditions are possible within the next 48 hours. Really, we're just looking at the gusts to weak tropical storm force winds along the immediate coast. Significant impacts are not expected for Southeast Texas still at this time. Tropical storm Bertha is not anticipated to really be able to strengthen all too much. It's dealing with a lot of dry air, high shear, and land interaction over the next day. May see some of those isolated gusts to weak tropical storm force winds along the immediate coast and over the coastal waters. For today, we may see some isolated strong to severe thunderstorms this afternoon, evening, as that line of showers and thunderstorms kind of pushes through. We may see some damaging wind gusts and a brief heavy downpour possible. We continue to see dangerous heat today and potentially continuing through tomorrow or Friday. We have the extreme heat warning in effect for all of Southeast Texas today. And then additional heat advisories will be possible tomorrow and Friday, but we'll see how much cloud cover we get from Bertha. We will see sending additional email briefings this evening and tomorrow morning on the latest conditions, and we will be doing another webinar tomorrow, same time at noon. Thank you.